Welcome to the Parker Podcast Collection.
Finally, here we go.
Good evening, Peter.
Whoa!
You have 576 possible web shooter combinations.
That is awesome. I can keep that suit?
Yeah, doesn't fit me.
So when's our next retreat?
What, next mission? We'll call you. All right?
It's not a hug. I'm just grabbing the door for you.
We're not there yet.
All right, kid.
Good luck out there.
Hey, Peter. You coming tonight? I can tonight. I got the Stark internship. What's up, guys? Mr. Stark, here's my report for tonight. I stopped the Grand Theft bicycle. Hey, could you do me a favor? Hold on to that. Is this anybody's bike? Oh, I helped this old lady and she bought me a churro. So, that was nice. I just feel like I could be doing more. Wait a minute. You guys aren't the real Avengers. Hulk gives it away. New move I'm working on? Not bad. Oh, God, this feels so strange. These weapons are crazy dangerous.
Listen, Peter, there are people who handle this sort of thing. Can't you just be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
Let go of me! Let go of me!
Activating parachute.
The world's changing, boys. It's time we change too.
This is my chance to prove myself.
We have a Spanish quiz.
You gotta get better at this part of the job.
I don't understand. Oh, I'm intimidated. Oh, hey, guys.
Our friends are up there! Hey, where are you going? What are you hiding, Peter?
Yeah, Spider-Man!
I'm just kidding, I don't care. Bye.
There's a ton of other subsystems in here, but they're all disabled by the training wheels protocol.
I'm sick of Mr. Stark treating me like a kid.
But you are a kid.
Yeah, a kid who can stop a bus with his bare hands.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce.
And Marcus Hurley.
So, yeah, the new Spider-Man is upon us. Me and Marcus went to see it Friday afternoon. It's not a bad way to spend the afternoon, pre-beer festival. This is the first Spider-Man movie to be part of the MCU canon. I can't remember exactly which number film it is in the MCU now, but we're well into the teens, I think. Which coincidentally is how old Spider-Man is in this film,
yep.
Or Peter Parker.
It's 14, they've going 15.
Yeah, but they've spared us a traditional reboot kind of origin story. There's none of that. They kind of got a lot of that out of the way in Civil War. And so this kind of continues the partnership of young Peter Parker and older, but probably not too much wiser, Tony Stark. It's kind of like a bit of a Master Padawan relationship there, but he's not in the whole movie. He does pop up a few times though. But it's kind of a downbeat movie. They really tried to, it seems like they've gone out of their way to avoid doing basically what Sam Raimi did before, which was a lot of the whole kind of jumping around New York. In fact, they actively sort of mock that in a way, or at least make fun of the fact that, you know, his abilities are kind of location based in a way. So, yeah, and Michael Keaton is a pretty good villain as the Vulture, picking through the remains of the incident that was in the Avengers movie, and making a big old suit and weaponry out of what he could find from the alien remains. But yeah, it's also at the same time kind of a high school movie. There's no MJ as such, although, well...
No, there's no MJ.
Allude to... Yeah, they kind of allude to it, might be coming up, but in a sort of slightly different way. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought my only real reservation was that a lot of the action sequences take place at night, and I just think that, you know, Spider-Man's normally the most breathtaking when it is kind of swinging through the city and stuff, and Although there's a coincident on a ferry, on the Staten Island ferry, that kind of is about the closest you get. But yeah, it's not your average. I mean, it's not your traditional Spider-Man movie, I'd say. It's quite different, and I quite enjoyed it for that.
Yeah. But then I suppose the whole point that a lot of the main action sequences happen at night is actually plot-derived.
Yeah, true.
That's when villains tend to do most of their actions, because they're not arch villains or anything yet, where they call them out in broad daylight and then chuck a building at them, in your typical comic booky, ooh, look at me way. So it's quite nice that they are just, they're doing whatever. I'm not trying not to lay any spoilers down, because I think this should be a relatively spoiler-free Spidey cast.
It's only been out a couple of days, so yeah. No, they don't really go too near the overarching Avengers stuff, although they certainly allude to it. Cap shows up a fair bit in sort of infomercials and bits and pieces, so he is sort of technically in it. And they also reference the stuff that happens in Civil War a bit. Yes, Ian?
Hello, Robert. Was there a post-credit sequence?
There was 2.
Okay. That's all we need to know, I think. Thanks very much.
Yes.
Yeah, no, and one of them is kind of quite self-referential, actually. They're pretty cool. It's worth sticking around for, anyway. I don't know. That's all I've really got to say.
There was
about
one
it, really.
interesting bit. It's not really a spoiler or anything. When the film started, you hear the whole sort of Sony massive logo come up, and then it goes into the Columbia pictures, and underneath it says a Sony company, and it's sort of like drummed into you. And then me and Rob went, "Oh, no Marvel."
Yeah,
and then,
then
there was a second sort of opening in a sense, because that was the pre-opening, and then it was during the opening part, then the Marvel bit kicks in. So they kind of both managed to both not be near each other, but in the same film. You could tell there were a hell of a lot of lawyers talking about where the credit sequences should be and stuff like that, and it just smacked of, yep, we'll put Sony first.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you watch any of the old Avengers films before they were bought by Disney. They would have the fanfares at the start, and this is very much a sort of tenuous alliance between Sony and Marvel, or Disney, to try and play ball together, really. And I think it'll work for Sony. That obviously, Disney will be getting their cut, but I think it's going to work out well, because it's definitely a better film than the last 2 efforts. Although I don't think I've still got a fond place in my heart for the original Raimi stuff, really.
Spider-Man 2, the original trilogy, will always be, I think, one of the best examples of it. It's like
not so much the third one, but the first 2 were great.
Evil Spider-Man should always be forgotten. And
shoehorning
for sure. The Goblin. I mean, to be honest, the third one was Sandman's story, and they just shoehorned the Goblin stuff in, and Venom, and it was like, you didn't need to do that. They just ran out of ideas, chucked as many villains as possible, and kind of ruined it. But this one, I thought the story was pretty good, actually. I wasn't sure about his mate for most of the film. I thought he was going to be a bit annoying, but he kind of just kept on the right side for me of, like, because they're kids. You have to remember, that's the thing, you have to remember they are, sort of nearly mid-teen kids. They're just, they're still in that younger bracket of being a teenager where you are still a dweeb.
Yeah, that's true. Any final thoughts on Spider-Man before we move on?
Worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch. Much better than I thought it was going to be. I went in with reserved sort of thoughts on it, and I left really entertained, which I think, as a film, a Marvel film, which is what you want, really. I would say, if you're looking for something a bit fun, not necessarily too deep. I thought the villain's performance was really good. Michael Keaton's was good. Birdman reference made me chuckle.
Yeah, definitely.
But I just thought, it was a good film overall, good effort.
Yeah, it's definitely at the upper end of... Yeah, I hope so. I think we'll see him in the Avengers, the next Avengers next, I think. because that's next year, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
Probably
2018, I
don't
think.
think is there. There's nothing this year, I don't think.
Yeah, I think so. Cool. All right then. I also got to go and see Baby Driver. Got to a free screener of this. So yeah, bear that in mind. Disclaimer, etc. But yeah, this is the new film by Edgar Wright. It's a car drivey movie, but it's also very much a musical. Ansel Elgort, I think, is the main characters. The actor, Ansel Elgort. I didn't warm to him especially, but it's a cool movie. He's basically in over his head. He's like got to do one last heist for Kevin Spacey and his revolving crew of villains. But yeah, obviously it references a lot of other movies like Point Break and stuff, such as it is with Edgar Wright. But yeah, this is very much been his pet project since he left the whole Ant-Man thing behind. And it seems like he's got to make exactly the film he wanted to. There's a really great soundtrack. It's almost like a music video, but in a good way, because it's very much like all the action, and there's no like green screen. It's all like properly stunt car stuff, and some of the stuff you might have seen. I think they put one in the trailer actually, where he does the whole like sort of almost figure of eight reverse turn thing. It's amazing. Really well shot. A bit Bonnie and Clyde, I guess, at the end, but I can't really say too much more without spoiling stuff. But there's a lot of cool moments, and really good cast. John Hamm's particularly good as this kind of, his character's kind of like a guy who's like a Wall Street guy gone bad, and like he's like living out his sort of like midlife crisis. It's quite cool, and just a really sweet movie, and I'd recommend it.
Nice.
Yeah, on the big screen if you can.
Let's try and catch that.
Anyone seen anything else? I've got one more here.
Fire away, mate.
Mainly just I've just been catching up on films, to be honest. Stuff that we've kind of covered, I think already and stuff. So that's pretty much what I've been trying to shoehorn in.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead. That's cool.
Okay, well, I've got one more here, and this is OKJA, which is the new film by looks it up. The new film by John-Ho Bong, or Jun-Ho Bong. He's the guy who did Snowpiercer, and something else that was pretty good as well. What was that? It was like a monster movie. What was that called? The Host. Yeah, that was it. So yeah, he's a Korean filmmaker. He's done some really good stuff actually, and OKJA is the latest. And there was actually quite a bit of fuss about this because it's been made by Netflix, and it was actually put forward for the Cannes Film Festival, and the French have a bit of a rule where they don't allow films in Cannes to be up for an award unless they're shown in a cinema, and they can't be shown on streaming services for like a year later or something. And so of course there was a big fuss because Netflix are putting this on to Netflix on the same day as they release it theatrically. So that caused a bit of a fuss. But it's a cool film. Basically, it's kind of set in a world where food is becoming a bit scarce, and so this company has decided to try and create these like super pigs in order to solve the food crisis. And so what they do is the way they market it is it's like a competition, and they send these pigs off as little piglets to various different farmers around the world, and so then they have to raise the pig for like 10 years, and then afterwards they go and check in on them and then bring them back to be slaughtered, pretty much. So but the CGI is really good. The pig hippo thing, it's quite adorable. Obviously, not obviously, but if it's in the trailer, like it goes a bit pig in the city later, and some of the action stuff with that is like really well done. And it's got a really amazing cast actually. Tilda Swinton, obviously she was in Snowpiercer, so I think they've struck up a bit of a partnership there, her and the director. She's in it playing a similarly eccentric character. And you've also got Jake Gyllenhaal playing like a bit of a Steve Irwin type, but maybe a bit more dark side. And Giancarlo Esposito's in there. Gus from Breaking Bad. And there's a few other people pop up as well. But it's really cool. It's quite a long film. It's a good 2 hours. But Stephen Yeun from Walking Dead, he shows up as well.
Okay,
funny
cool.
that it being a Korean film, but it's not fully in Korean. The bits in Korea are, but it's a multinational cast, so it's cool. I mean, God, they definitely spent some money on it. I would have liked to have seen it on a big screen, really, but if Netflix keep putting money into films like this, then should be interesting to see what they come up with next.
Yeah.
They have been putting out quite a few sort of like one-offs, haven't they? I haven't watched too many of them.
War Machine they've done. Everybody's raving about War Machine with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, that's the one I thought I heard about. I haven't watched it yet. It looks like Brad Pitt in it, doesn't it? Is it?
It is Brad Pitt. Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Okay.
They're sort of just. It's just weird because their model is like they just put it out, and
also
a lot of it gets buried.
The Circle with Tom Hanks and what's her name from Harry Potter? Wow, that's terrible. Sorry, actress from Harry Potter.
Emily Watson is, I think. Yeah, cool. So that's all I've been watching.
I have actually watched a film that might be worth including before we get on to the news.
The film that isn't worth including, but
okay.
So I've been doing a lot of stuff on my computer over the last 2 weeks. Sorry, since we last recorded. There you go. That's the best edit. And I've been doing some stuff on one screen, and streaming films have been on the other one. Netflix, Amazon, Now TV, etc. There's a lot of shit on these services, unless you've got very, very low standards. But I happened across one called The Overnight. Has anybody seen this?
No.
No, it doesn't seem familiar.
It's got somebody called Adam Scott in it. That's not why I chose it.
I know.
But it's a sex comedy. Keep listening, listener. Adam Scott's in it. Taylor Schilling from Orange is the New Black. Jason Schwartzman. And it's basically it's basically the four of them. Two of them have moved into the area. Two of them are just trying to find friends to save their dissolving marriage, really. And they get together one night, their mutual thing being their kids, and stuff happens. And I was surprised how distracting it was, and really quite laugh out loud funny. The ending will work for you or not, depending on how open-minded you are, let's say, or not. But the journey was just hilarious. There are some prosthetic cocks in this that will make everybody wet themselves. Just hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And the story's quite good. The characters are good. It looks like they had a great time making it, and I really like stuff like that. Where you can kind of forgive the subtleties and nuances and, that doesn't really make sense, because they just look like they had a great time making it. So that's it. It's The Overnight. It's on Netflix at the moment in the UK.
Cool. Nice.
I've just been looking on the IMDb page, and the plot keywords are prosthetic penis, male nudity, penis size, night, and nude swimming.
I think we need to be very clear here, in case there's any. The male nudity is 100% prosthetic. Absolutely, without any doubt, it is prosthetic. Sorry, rather, they are prosthetic.
Okay.
And yeah, it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. I kind of want to watch it again because it's quite funny.
Well,
yeah.
Speaking of some, go ahead.
Yeah, Adam Scott, he's quite good in Parks and Rec, and
good golfer
he was
as well.
In what?
He's a good golfer as well.
Oh, I've not seen that.
No, there is an Adam Scott that plays golf.
Oh, right, sorry, yeah.
It's like they're cloning themselves.
Oh, right, fair enough. Yeah, revenge of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's good in that, and he was in that Big Little Lies as well that I was raving about a couple of months ago. Yeah. Cool.
Sorry, Marcus, did you have one?
Yeah, I managed to catch in a little backwater cinema the remake of the Power Rangers film.
Oh, really?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Quite dark in places, but overall, meh. I almost think it does go cheesy in a typical sort of back way. You know, it can't escape its Power Ranger cheesiness, no matter how much they try to dress it up like the new Fantastic Four film by giving everyone a really dark backstory and making them broody and putting them all in detention. Basically, it's like the bad kids of Angel Grove got together and became Power Rangers. I half expected the lead character to actually drive his father's car off the side of a cliff and then be shipped off to Starfleet. It's that sort of thing. They've gone for the Red Ranger is basically Captain Kirk of the remake. But I don't know. I think it was an okay effort. I think if you're going to watch something with big robots in, Pacific Rim is a lot better, a lot more fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in terms of a film, like a reimagining of it, not bad within its own little sphere. But as a generic film, okay. One to stick on in the background when you're doing stuff, Ian.
It's no Pirates of the Caribbean, though, right?
Oh, no, it's better than that. It's a lot better than that.
Wow, okay.
It's a lot better than that.
Okay, good.
And that had the budget. God, imagine if they could achieve if they had that budget.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, I remember when this film came out earlier in the year, and there was a lot of like raving about it and just chatter, but it all just passed me by because I was just never in that when it was a thing, you know.
Well,
I've got no nostalgia for it
Susie's
whatsoever.
the same. I mean, she's not that big, so I just kind of, watched it on my Todd. I was just like, well, yeah. But I don't know. I kind of did. I did enjoy some bits of it. It was a little bit compelling with some of the characters and stuff, but some of the acting was a little bit, oh, you're just being broody. You've obviously got a secret. It's all a bit cliched. And a bit, but then again, that was the whole series. The whole series was really cliched.
Yeah.
Rita was a surprise. I've got a hunch that it was based on, because there was a fan fiction film called Power Stroke Ranger, and it had
I remember
Katie.
that.
Yeah, it had Katie
really
Sackhoff in it.
That was really
good and really dark. It felt like they were trying to go for that sort of vein, because Rita Repulsa is actually a former Ranger.
Right.
So they're kind of taking it and making it a bit dark. Starts off with like lots of death and all this sort of stuff and everything else. But, and there's, people just get killed and all this sorts of stuff. But yeah, it's an okay effort, I think. It could have been a lot worse. Which is saying something.
Isn't Bryan Cranston in that? Playing a giant
Is he
head
playing Zordon?
or something?
Oh my God.
If that's the giant
and
head.
he's blue.
Then, yeah.
That's why I was cracking up laughing. He turned into a giant meth head of his own product. I was trying to think why I found it so funny and I couldn't remember afterwards. But yeah, at the time, he's playing a big alien presence of a former being that's stuck in a wall and blue-faced. But yeah, no, as I say, as a nice reimagining, pretty good. As a film, quite average. Ooh. Ian's holding up some pornography.
Yeah.
What was that? I missed that.
An old man with claws. Oof.
I see.
With massive choppers.
Prosthetic.
Interestingly, it comes with a so-called... I've bought Logan on Blu-ray. It arrived yesterday. Ordered it the day I came out of the film. But it comes with it's called Logan Noir. I don't know if you can see that, which is the film in black and white. I know they did that for something else recently.
Oh, right.
The Mist there was a black and white version of The Mist, wasn't there? Or was that all black and white anyway? No, there was a black and white version of The Mist.
And Mad Max.
Yeah. So, as simple as that is to produce, why not throw it out as an extra thing?
I think it'd work actually. Black and white.
Started watching the extras last night. Again, looks like they had a really good time. So, If you like your extras, get your
great.
Blu-rays and DVDs, and don't just watch everything at the cinema.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I bought a movie, to be honest.
But you've got the watch every film at the cinema thing, haven't you?
Well, I've given that up actually. I've just got there's like a little bit of a deal I do through work where we get cheaper tickets basically.
Oh right, okay.
So works at 5 of the major chains. So yeah, I've just been doing that. We did that for Spider-Man actually.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Works out quite well. I can actually do the annual season ticket thing reduced, but to be honest, with my commute now, I just don't really get home early enough really on most nights. I can't do what I was doing, which was watching everything.
Yeah.
And don't know, hoping to invest in a decent home cinema setup later in the year. So I'd like to save a few to watch on that.
Get a 4K screen for that, mate. They're good, I hear.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, might be getting another one of those. Anyway, yeah, there was a bit of news I wanted to get to, and it's not really, it's quite old now, but I thought it was quite big and might be worth chatting about, and that was the fact that Lord and Miller have left the Han Solo movie, or well, they were actually fired. It turns out.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Oh no!
Let's pretend it was the day of the news, and that joke's still relevant.
Yeah. So that was the news originally, that they'd left. Turned out that basically, I don't think the Lucasfilm machine were really getting on with the way they were going about filming it. And so now Ron Howard has stepped in as a kind of safe bet, I think, really, for him to pick up the pieces and turn it into something.
Is this going to go the way of like AI? Where, the entire film is about Jude Law and it's all a little bit mechanical, Clockwork Orangey stroke, not quite Blade Runner-y, apart from the last 20 minutes, which go full on Spielberg. With the big blue angel and everything else, and it's like...
I don't think that was him that did the bit at the end, actually.
Really?
I think that was fully as intended, that film.
Okay.
I think it was easy for people to say that, but...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ron Howard previously worked with Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm. He directed Willow, so
that's
kind of cool.
Yeah,
he's directed other stuff as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. But well, he's most recently though. Apollo 13. I guess honestly, pile of shame. Have not seen that.
I'm still chuffed that he
terrible.
was Richie in Happy Days.
Yeah. I think Happy Days was the reply of a few people when this announcement was made. But I know. No, he did Backdraft. I've seen that. That was good.
That's a good film.
Yeah. I mean, he's a solid filmmaker.
Ransom was excellent with Mel Gibson.
God,
awesome.
Wow, yeah, that's
Give me
going
back my
back.
Wookiee.
Give me back my son.
That was like before Taken, wasn't it? That was the one.
Yeah.
For that kind of subject.
But he also did the Da Vinci Code.
He's done all of those.
Oh, fucking hell. Right. Well, bills to pay.
Which is... Yeah, that's kind of a lot of the sentiment, really, that's been coming out around it, is like, yeah, it's kind of a safe pair of hands. Because the argument is that it's kind of like the Bond films, where the directors of these films basically get to have a go, and then like once the filming's wrapped, it's apparently Gareth Edwards was effectively removed from Rogue One towards the end because basically he had no say in how it came out.
Okay.
Oh wow.
So,
but that may just explain the edits and the fact that the stuff in the trailer that isn't in the film. So in the trailer, she's running along the beach with the disc and stuff, but that never happens. Yeah,
because there's no the powers that be at Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, etc. They have an idea. They've spent so much money on this vehicle that they cannot fuck it up, really.
Yeah.
And that's why the first two films to have come out through that machine have been pretty close to what the fans want, I think, And so maybe, I guess, Lord and Miller were kind of making it into more of a comedy. And I think at the end of the day, they want to make a Star Wars film.
Well, I think they did like 21 Jump Street and something else. So I think I think that's kind of like, okay, you can do this if you do it in a Star Warsy way. Whereas they probably were leaning towards the more sort of buddy, maybe space buddy comedy. Who knows?
Well, their calling card for this was the Lego movie. There was the bit in the Lego movie where Han and Chewie turn up, and it's like, it's done with such like reverence and love for those characters. When this was announced, it was like a no-brainer, you know, like they'd already proven that they had a reverence for the source material. So yeah, I don't know. Be interesting. I'm still really trepidatious about the whole idea of recasting Han, to be honest, but I don't know. They got to make more movies out of it, haven't they?
I would love to learn more about Yoda. There's only one.
Yeah.
There's only one of him. I've not seen any other creature like that. Ever.
Maybe
even
he's
the
like
prequels.
Doctor Who.
That's the thing.
Last
It's
of
like,
his kind.
Maybe he was so senile he forgot his own age. Maybe in the beginning there was Yoda. And he went,
I always used to like the theory that he was a very old human. Like, and that the Force had kept him alive for a very long time.
This is wrinkled up and shrunk.
Because we shrink and our ears go bigger as we get older.
That's a good point. He was probably the BFG when he was little, and then, well, not little, but when he was a young lad, and then he's just shrunk over the years. Oh, God. Yeah, that's a good theory. Maybe.
All right, then let's put that to bed then.
Yeah, it's going to turn out he's going to turn out he's Luke, isn't it?
Yeah,
some
maybe
strange Ouroboros or something like that. You know, where he's Luke and he has to go back through the Force to train himself. Oh God!
Yeah, maybe.
No.
No. This has been the Not Watching Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself, Marcus and Ian talk about video games and virtual reality on the Not Playing Podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for the show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya!